Moin moin. The most natural way to learn languages. Scientifically proved method. The secret shortcut that will lead you to fluency. Comprehensible input. Sounds like magic. No grammar, no writing, even no speaking. Just consuming the content. And the best part, it really works. If you do it right. There are so many videos about comprehensible input, yet only few of them explain how to really use it and how to include comprehensible input into your existing language learning routine. Today I will show you how to get the most out of the comprehensible input method, and I will answer the most important question, where to get this input from. Let's go. Stephen Krashen, an American linguist, in the end of 1970s came up with comprehensible input hypothesis. The idea is quite simple. You acquire language naturally by engaging with the content that's just slightly above your current level. If we try to put it in simple words, you learn when you understand the meaning. And there are two ways how to do it. First one, you consume some specific type of content. So content that was designed specifically for language learners. You all know these special books and special videos for language learners for different levels, and all of them are sharing one common thing. They are extremely boring. Usually these books and videos contain some silly stories or some well-known fairy tales, but to be honest, yeah, they are really not that fun to read or watch. Another type of comprehensible input you can use is to consume words in some context. So for example, if you have picture of some sign, even if you don't speak the language, you can understand the meaning of this word. And if you will see it often enough, you will eventually learn this word. This is also something that you usually see from teachers who are practicing comprehensible input. They don't speak any other language apart from target language on the lesson, and they use their body language a lot. So as an example, even if you don't speak Russian, if I will show you glass, 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 один, glass, you will understand that I say one I. And as I already said about comprehensible input, it really works. For example, I learned English through comprehensible input, even without knowing that I'm learning it through comprehensible input. So for example, I'm very bad with English grammar. I don't fully understand all this present, perfect, continuous, past, whatever. But you can hear that even if I make some mistakes sometimes, I speak more or less fluently and I don't need to think about every single word that come out of my mouth. And actually, if you think about it, these common recommendations for language learners are based on comprehensible input. Have you ever heard these phrases like, you just need to watch your favorite TV show in your target language, or you just need to listen to more music, or you just need to move to the country where people speak this language? All of these recommendations are basically based on comprehensible input, and they all mean that you will interact with a language a lot, and this language will be in some context where you will be able to understand this word. And while comprehensible input definitely works, there are several problems with this method. First one, comprehensible input requires massive input. So ideally you need to be isolated from any other language and you consume the content only in your target language. So you hear this language all the time, you read it everywhere, you have signs around you in your target language only. And while it's technically possible, for most of us it's not an option. So for example, me, I'm learning German and I live in Berlin, but I speak at home with my wife in Russian. I speak at work with my colleagues in English, and the only thing I have left is just 3-4 hours, and even if I will fill it only with German language, this input will not be massive enough. And because of that, we're coming to the second problem. Learning language through comprehensible input is time consuming. Yes, 100% it's the most natural way of learning languages, and this is actually the way how kids are learning the language. But for the most of us, it's impossible in a short amount of time to reach some level, even to pass some super basic language exam. So if you are learning through comprehensible input only, it will definitely require more time than 3 or 6 months, probably even more than a year. And even if you still want to use comprehensible input, here comes the third problem. It's very hard to find sources. Yes, of course, you have these books and videos that I mentioned before, but as I said, they are boring. And also they are designed for some specific language level. And while there are some standard language levels like A1, A2, etc., people who are on the same language level can have completely different vocabulary, and for one person this book will be too easy, and for another one this book will be too complex. It may seem that my message is that comprehensible input is bad and you shouldn't use it, but actually I have comprehensible input as a part of my language learning routine. I just don't use these traditional sources and go with more technical approach. I know that a lot of people criticize ChatGPT and AI and say like, yeah, it's not that accurate. Sometimes it's come up with information that actually not true. But there is one thing you cannot deny. ChatGPT and other LLMs are incredibly good in generating text. They are trained basically on the whole internet, and they can provide coherent text in a lot of different languages quite good. And this is exactly what we need. So first thing that I'm using ChatGPT for is writing text for me with some additional conditions. And this text can be about anything. So for example, I love movies and I'm thinking about movies a lot, and I'm Googling and asking ChatGPT a lot of questions about movies. And now if I want to ask something, I will just add some additional instruction, answer me in German language A2 level, avoid using complex grammatical structures or vocabulary, and I will get the answer to my question. And of course this answer will be quite simple, but this is a comprehensible input. And the best part that I can keep interacting with this chat. So for example, if I don't know some word, for example this one, I can ask it, was ist Frieden? And now it knows that it should answer me on some specific language level, and it will continue producing text on this level, the text that I will be able to understand. You can even do it not as a part of your language learning routine, but every time when you interact with ChatGPT, you just add this additional instruction and you receive an answer in some simplified way in your target language. You can even go to settings and set up these additional instructions for any kind of chat you create with ChatGPT, but for me it's a little bit extreme, so I don't mind to just add this additional instruction to the first message of the chat. And the other thing you can ask ChatGPT to do for you is rewriting text to make it more comprehensible. So I just rewrite this text in German, avoid using complex grammatical structures or vocabulary, and then I will just paste some text that I want to read here between these two text tags, and I can copy it directly from Wikipedia or something. So I wanted to read this text about Hurricane Ophelia, and I just copy this text, paste it here, and send to ChatGPT. And it will respond me with new version of the same text. It will try to keep all facts there, but the text will be translated and provided in some specific language level. And you see that I didn't ask it to summarize text, so the amount of text is quite similar to the one that I sent before. And now I will read this text that I wanted to read anyway, but now I will also include some language learning in this process. The most important part about comprehensible input that you need to consume content you really like and enjoy. You don't need to go and read some silly book just because you need to read something. Go to ChatGPT and ask it about something that is related to your hobby, to your interests. As always with language learning, consistency is the key. So if you read about something you enjoy, you will most likely do it every day and will not eventually drop it. If you're more interested in some traditional language learning approach, check my video where I explain how to learn 1000 words in 6 months using different tools. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you later.